I'm Adam from the Digital Soup Podcast, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at gonnageek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The intellectual podcast starts now.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm well. So we're doing the podcast a little weird because the interview took place before the thing we're talking about, and this conversation is taking place after the thing that we talked about with the cast. So you're in the play Lovesick at Lamplighters Theater,
which you just saw this evening.
I just saw this evening, and we sat with the cast, or members of the cast, not the entire cast, but quite a few of them beforehand, and talked kind of vaguely about the play.
Exactly.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it immensely.
You came on a good night. We had like almost a full house.
Yeah,
they
it was
were a
packed.
very active audience. Like, they were laughing.
I was laughing a lot myself.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times where I started laughing. I'm like, God, I hope other people are laughing because I'm being really loud. But it was nice. It was one of those situations. Oftentimes, when you have an ensemble, somebody doesn't quite carry their weight. You know, like it happens. It's not being harsh on people. Just just happens when you got 9 actors. Somebody usually isn't pulling the same weight that everybody else is. But I really felt like this entire cast was really solid in every single scene that you guys had. And you were mixing it up, different people working with different people on each one. And it was really, I was impressed.
We do have a solid cast.
Yeah.
They're all really good. And what I like about it, I mean, everyone meshes well. Like, no matter who is in which scene with which person, I feel like we've learned to play to each other's energy levels, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, the first scene that I have with Andrew, it is high energy.
Yes.
And then the next scene I have with Morgan, it really switches gears and it's a little bit lower. And same for Andrew, like his scene with Rihanna, it's on a different level. Like, they're just those characters. That's why earlier, I didn't get a chance to mention, but you were asking about how we differentiate our characters. I think for this show, or at least for me, it's the tempos. Because each scene has a slightly different rhythm. And I don't know if you noted the music that was chosen in the show, but I love that it's such a music-heavy show because I feel like that plays into what happens within the scenes, because you have places where it speeds up a little bit and then it slows back down, and then, you know, some staccato sort of aspects. There's a musicality to the ensemble as well, which I really like. Yeah,
the music choices are really good. And I mentioned to Kristen Fogel afterwards, who directed the play, that I really liked the choice she made for using the scrim to create the kind of shadow vignettes that lead into each piece, because it gives you just a little hint of what you're about to watch, you know, in a very interesting way. It was a neat way to find a way to kind of weave into each story, and make maximum use of a small bit of space.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
Because it is a small stage, but adding that, and it kind of added a backstage too, because we're able to travel back there. So were you able to kind of guess what you were going into from the vignettes? Yeah,
so there was the one where I think it was, were you back there holding the baby?
I was holding the baby.
I thought so. I'm like, that looks like Whitney's silhouette, but you were holding the baby, and then it's the couple sitting at a table with the birthday cake, and I knew exactly where this story was going, which was cool, because it's like, when you're bouncing from different tales, like each one of those scenes is a totally different story to tell. It was neat to have a very quick kind of like, here's some backstory that you can fill in the gaps on your own before they start talking. It's a really interesting choice and very creative and intelligent choice. Like, I really enjoyed that.
I also like that they had the scene title blocks before each one, because those are actually the names of each of the scenes that are in this play. And I don't know how they've done it in other shows, but you don't get that. And I feel like the title is really, I mean, again, it's one of those little hints to where the story's going. So yeah, I would love to see another staging of this, just to see how they deal with these same issues.
Yeah. It's always fun to see other interpretations of material that you've been a part of or enjoyed. A particular note for me, I really, really enjoyed the lunch dinner scene. And I really enjoyed your very first scene.
Oh, thank you.
Both of those, they both had me just floored. Like, I thought they were so funny. I was a little disappointed in people when they get to the interview will understand that I didn't see any blood. But I definitely got a number of the things that were talked about with the OIRs, very funny.
And how easily it could go from love to a colliding mess of blood and carnage.
But it was a great play. So you've got one more weekend.
We do.
So that means you conclude. I'm curious. I don't know what dates we're at right now.
It's the first weekend in August.
Our first weekend of August.
Date. So that's let me see, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We also have a show tomorrow. We have a matinee. Sunday.
I'm not sure this is going to go up before that.
Oh, well, tonight's Saturday, so yeah, the last shows are the first weekend in August.
Okay, I will try to get this up sometime early tomorrow. But definitely make sure you go to Lamplighters in La Mesa and see one of the final 3 shows.
Mm-hmm. So we have Friday's an 8 o'clock show, Saturday's an 8 o'clock show, and Sunday is a 2 p.m. matinee show.
Good. And you won't regret it. It's a very entertaining show. And it's a cool little theater. I'd never actually been to Lamplighters before.
Really?
Like, I dropped friends off.
Yeah.
To work on plays and stuff, but I never actually stuck around and saw a play there. So
it's one of those, it's small, but you can really utilize the space.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. Remind me a little bit of North Coast Rep.
Oh, yeah.
Because Brian used to work at North Coast Rep.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time there. I like those intimate, small spaces like that. They're very cool. So cool. Thank you for inviting me to come out and watch it. And,
I'm glad you got a chance to come out and see it.
And I got to say, it's a couple of Kristen Fogel's shows I've seen now, and I really enjoy her direction on stage.
Yeah. She's a really good director. I mean, she's we talked about that with the actors earlier. It's really easy. I think maybe because she was an actor first before she was a director, but she's very good with collaborating and letting the actors take the lead. She gives you leading questions like, what do you think this character would do, and why do you think? And then, just tells you, hey, this is working, this isn't, this is how this is coming across. Because we definitely had, there were a couple of, the way I was saying certain things, she's like, the way it's coming across, it sounds like this. I'm like, oh, okay. And, how to adjust it and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Lamplighters, 3 more shows next weekend. If this comes out on Sunday, 1 show on Sunday. And, it's worth your time. It's definitely worth your time. Go check it out. And my props to you and to Kristen Chandler and the whole rest of the cast.
Thank you so much.
Specifically the 2 of you. You're the actresses I've worked with before, and I was very impressed with you both tonight. It was very nice.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, go out and support local theater.
Yeah,
Hope you come see the show.
And here's the interview with the cast of Lovesick on the Intellectual Podcast.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.
Oh shit, I know my scenes. I need 2 scenes.
All right, well, welcome to the Intellectual
Pearson, right?
Podcast. Yeah. I'm Dave Dawson.
I'm Whitney Wegman.
We're sitting with
Kristen Chandler.
Yeah, there we go.
And Andrew Pearson.
And you three, Whitney included, are all part of the play Lovesick at Lamplighters Theater.
Yes, we are.
How long's the play running till?
So this weekend and next weekend are our last weekends. It's already been running for, what, a month?
Yeah.
3 weeks, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
We had a 5-week run, so it ends August 5th is our last show.
Nice. So I'll get this up tomorrow if I can.
Cool.
Certainly by Monday, so people can hopefully hear it and come to your final weekend.
Yeah, they should, because it's a really good show.
Yeah, what can you tell me about it?
Well, it is a dark comedy about different parts of relationships, like the timeline of a relationship. And it's in vignette scenes, and it's a huge ensemble cast. What else, guys? Help me out
Pretty
here.
much if you've gone through a long-term relationship, you've experienced every part of this play.
So the honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
the first meeting phase, the honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
the kind of getting bored with it phase.
Yeah.
Even just the dating phase.
Yeah.
It's just the very beginning of what happens when you get butterflies in your stomach kind of thing.
What's that like?
Yeah, I don't
remember.
remember. It's been a long time. I think this play has like a lot of ups and downs where you're following it and you're like, this is fun. Oh, this is so great. And then it takes a very sharp right turn.
This is not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird and awkward. I was leaving the other night, and this old lady was like, "You did so well. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved the first act. The second act, too depressing.
Oh,
I did not
no.
like it. It was too depressing." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
But I mean,
Yeah, the second act does get a little dark. What's funny, though, is for us as the actors, we're sitting backstage cackling at the worst possible things. We're horrible people, by the way. But the audience is out here just like, oh, that's sad. And we're like, we're dying. We're dying.
well, yeah, it's like fun in some parts and it's like happy and you're laughing going along. And then all of a sudden now they're breaking up and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Or we're just making fun of like how our fellow actors say things while they're on stage.
that's true. We do that.
There have been a lot of shenanigans in this show. People trying to make people break. And
How big is the cast?
9
90.
9 people, 9 vignettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be a little bit of a revelation for you
Yeah.
there, Kristen.
Figured that out 4 weeks in.
It's
And,
okay. Last night I just figured out which vignette is the one before intermission.
Yeah, that was weird. Oh, do we end here? When is intermission coming? It's like, how long have you been doing this show, bro?
Wow. Yeah, and everyone has 2 scenes except for Kristen has 3. She's a...
Somebody backed out,
Overachiever.
so that I got pushed in.
You should have just gone with overachiever.
Pushed her in front of a train.
Yeah, we pushed her out. I pushed her out. It was like, I want 3. I have to have 3.
But they're really each very different. So I guess that would be something to discuss. How did you come about deciding how each of your characters would change and be different for each scene?
Well, I don't necessarily like change the characters. I change the reaction in the situation. But one night I was standing there on stage and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm the exact same in every scene. I was like on stage thinking that, going, and then you start thinking, I'm on stage thinking that. I am a horrible actress. What am I doing? But I don't know. I let like the scenario guide my reaction. So then I guess that becomes a character, I guess. I don't know. I really like my scene with Carla playing her wife. I love doing like emotional scenes. I love something that's heartbreaking, you know. So, yeah.
When you're on stage and you find yourself thinking of something you shouldn't be thinking of, like, how do you get yourself back on track?
Yeah. I mean, I have to go back into it. I realize that I'm not doing the audience any favors by just sitting here going like, what am I going to do after this show? You know. But I think that's why last night's show was so weird, is because I was in the scenes just paying attention to what was going on. I think that was finally freaking 3 weeks later. So
you're more in the character brain than actor
so,
brain.
Yeah.
How long did you guys rehearse before you opened?
Like a month and a half.
No.
No, was
it was
it?
like a month.
Well, I think it was a long time, but the rehearsal schedule was so short. We only had like 1 a week, 2 a week sometimes.
Yeah.
It wasn't really stressful at all.
Yeah, so maybe a month and a half, but only like 1 time a week.
Yeah.
Did that feel like enough rehearsal, or do you feel like you're still kind of finding it as you've been going?
I felt like once Tech Week came around, I thought we were cool, man.
Yeah, Tech Week, we hit it hard. Like, we were here every single night, so we got it down.
But I don't know if it's just me or like other actors are like this, but I after the first week opening, then I relax into it. Mm-hmm. Then I'm like, okay, I got this now, finally.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
So I just recommend never coming to opening week of any of my shows, at least.
What do you guys feel like the hardest part of this show is?
That one night on stage where I was trying so hard not to smile anymore in our scene. That was probably the fucking hardest night. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was, I just had a dumb grin on my face. There was no reason why.
Andrew just got...
As soon as we looked at each other to kiss, I just, the whole time, had this stupid grin on my face, and I was like trying so hard to get rid of it. I don't know what it was either.
I couldn't look at you because I'm like, if I look at Andrew, I'm going to lose my shit and start laughing. There was one night in rehearsal, though, where we like had a giggle fit that lasted most of rehearsal.
Yeah, I think...
Like, every time we try and talk to each other, we just lose it laughing.
Yeah.
So it felt like there was a little bit of that there. It's like, remember.
I think Kristen and Joy were like, they were sitting right here, and they were just like, it was like 11 o'clock, and we were all tired, and me and Whitney were just like, we kept like just fucking up and like making each other laugh, and then she's like, what'd you say? Where are you come from? And I lost it because I was like, what the fuck? Where have you come from? What?
That's not even English.
I smushed together, you'll see when you see the show, but I smushed together to the lines, and that's how it came out. Oh, yeah, Joey and Kristen were ready to kill us.
Yeah.
Oh, and Joey and Kristen are the directors and assistant director, we should say.
Yeah, we should say that.
But didn't you guys think that, like, the hard part of the play was all the direction that the playwright gave us? And the interruptions and stuff?
Yeah, so this playwright, the way I should run in there and grab the script, it's like reading hieroglyphs, because he has different, like, this slash means that you say things together, or it's run on, or this is what you're thinking, but don't say it.
Yeah.
Usually,
It's like a script written in code.
Yeah.
Usually playwrights write the play and don't really tell you how they want you to act in it. But this guy wrote the play, and he was like, this is how you're going to act.
He directed it,
Yeah,
too.
he directed
He
it
directed
without
it.
being
Very
here.
specific.
Yeah.
Do you find that restricting as an actor?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it was up to our director to say yay or nay
Yeah.
on it. So, and she was like, I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
And then some of his, you know.
Yeah, it was
but
like a mixture.
I mean, some of them are, good directions, and others it's like...
it was just really specific and kind of annoying.
Yeah. and...
like you wrote it for like people who had never acted before.
Yes,
You know?
yes, like
Yeah.
acting 101.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is how you say it with this emotion
Yeah.
next to it.
The way it's written is really challenging also, because it's very true to how we speak. Things like the saying, yeah, okay. And so you have lines that the response you're getting is, yeah. And then...
Yeah, the two things that actors hate are lists and single word responses, right?
It's like,
But
okay.
also repeating, too.
Yeah.
Repeating and repeating.
Yep. And then on my side, because both my characters talk a lot, I'm just like, okay. That one word response really helps me for triggering what the hell I'm supposed to say next.
No.
Oh, it was... The second scene was my challenge, the one with Morgan, because of that. At least with Andrew, we say things together, so it's
like half of our script is all in unison, so
Yeah.
we easily helped each other learn the lines. Yeah.
So you all have a couple different scenes. Are you playing the same characters in each scene?
No.
they're different characters.
So what's the challenge in being on stage on the same night and playing a different character from one scene to the next? How do you keep it straight? I mean, Kristen, you obviously said you don't. But the other two, like, how do you keep that straight? How do you stay within a particular character from one scene to the next when you're having to shift gears through the night?
I try to watch my mannerisms and make sure that they're not too similar to the first scene that I just did. Because I feel like all of our characters in the show, like, and every scene could be us, those characters years later, you know? So, like, I try to watch, like, the mannerisms that I do and where I put my hands and, like, how I'm talking in one scene versus, like, how I'm talking in another scene. Because the first scene, the guy's got obsessive impulsive disorder, and he's, like, you know, they're both kind of all over the place and, like, nervous and
We're
on
both
top
a little
of each other.
up and neurotic.
Yeah, and then my other guy, he's, like, not sure if he wants to be married, so he's just, like, nervous. And so I just try to watch how I say, I just try to make them as different as possible with still having a little bit of myself in there. Yeah.
What's your process in finding the mannerism of a character?
I take a little bit from myself, so I'll think about how I am when I'm when I'm in situations like that. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty much how I'd move, like if I was, you know, doing this. And then when I'm nervous, like when you see me up here, I take things like when I'm actually feeling these feelings, I'll be like, oh, this will be good to remember for when I'm like doing something, like when I'm acting some shit like that. So you'll see me do things like this, like. And this is stuff that I do like when I'm nervous.
For the podcast.
Rub my knees, or like I'll just like kind of bounce my legs up and down, stuff like that. Yeah.
So you find the little physical tics.
Yeah, I find the little things that I do, and then I'll just throw them in there for whenever I'm feeling those things.
Yeah. What about you, Kristen? How do you approach finding a character?
Well, like I said, I just use the scenario that's going on, you know. Each character in the three that I'm doing are in completely different scenarios with different people, so everything changes.
We got another person join us.
How's your voice?
My voice is doing better.
Oh, good.
Hey.
That's for certain.
Hand that to you.
Why, hello.
Go ahead and introduce yourself since you're just coming into the room.
Well, this is Andre Urbano.
Yay, you can talk.
My old voice and all.
Yay.
Andre lost his voice yesterday.
Yes, but slowly recovering, so good to know.
Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
I know, right?
Have you been having any honey?
I've been having a little bit of honey.
Yeah, I'd down honey when my throat's like, I'll just like, gulps of honey.
My mom's solution, anytime she had any vocal problems, she was a singer, was ginger root tea. Like straight up ginger root boiled in hot water.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I've used it myself whenever I have voice problems, because I do a lot of podcasting and whatnot, and it always like just fixes whatever's going on in my throat.
Nice.
Definitely do need to start trying ginger. I keep hearing about it though.
Yeah, that's good.
I love
It
ginger.
fixes your tummy.
Yeah.
So if it fixes your tummy, that fixes everything else up.
Yeah. It's a little harsh going down.
No, yeah.
Spicy.
I've had it for sushi before. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I drop in on,
What parts are you playing in the play?
Well, I'm playing a singing telegraph man for one, and then I'm playing this guy named Ben who tries to confess to his boyfriend. So yeah.
Which was
kind of
scary
where I'm
last
at.
night because he had to sing.
Oh my god, yeah,
his voice
singing
was
was
almost
so
completely
weird.
gone.
We were just discussing how we differentiate between our characters in the show, or how you find the character. So, how do you find your character?
It's always so funny to think about my characters. I do it mainly because my differentiation is singing telegraph is kind of like he's kind of on a mission. He has a job, just like straight up, and it's him just trying to figure out, how do I avoid sending this message to this very excited woman? And then I think Ben is a lot more open, trying to or he thinks he's open. He tries to open himself up to Andy and so forth, but has a lot of weird issues come along in that relationship. So it's definitely a lot of different emotional levels during that. I feel more energetic as a telegraph than I do as Ben.
So the play being about relationships, how close are some of the things you're playing? Is it to some of the experiences that you have in your own life? How much are you able to just draw off of real experience? How much are you having to kind of reach for?
When I'm in grocery stores, I walk up and just make out with women all the time.
You'll get that joke after you see the show.
Well, they always tell me that grocery stores is like the best place to pick up women, and I have no idea how that works.
The play is based around the Super Center, which is kind of like a Costco, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I don't think I'd want to pick up the people I see in Costco, just saying.
It's better than the women you see at Walmart.
That's true. People at Walmart.
Point taken.
But okay. So the specifics of the moment aside.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been times where I've seen a girl or whatever in a Super Center and thought, oh, maybe I should go talk to her. And then I get those same feelings, those butterflies. Like, oh fuck, no, I'm not talking to her. Like, well, why would I do that? And then it's a little different for ours in Obsessive Impulsive because. It would be, I feel like, so much easier if life was like that, you know? Like where we
just be completely honest.
If people just equally like went for it.
Yeah.
I think people can walk away from this show picking out different things, a part of them, seeing that. Because you say something in the very first act that I never forget all the time, and it's, you think a thing and you do it. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. You think a thing, you do it.
You think a thing and you do it. And like all day long, I'm like, okay, well, you think a thing and you just do it. Just go. Like,
yeah.
So there's pieces in this show, I think, that you could take away from in your life. And it's so relatable.
Yeah,
well, it's grains of truth, you know, that all of this is built on. Yeah, it takes it to a really extreme place, but it's all grounded in like, the first moment, that love at first sight sort of concept. And then going into the harder part, which is the being in love part, or not in some of the cases.
Something that I always remember you say, and that it sticks with me, something that Kristen says is, sing Telegram Man.
What does that have to do with your life? Do you say that?
He gets a lot of telegrams, that's for sure.
Yeah, in my head, I'm just always like, singing Telegram Man, because I just like the way you say it. It has nothing to do with my life.
You have a weird life, dude.
I think the one that from our scene, the line that I feel is always really grounded in truth is when my character says, I should probably just be alone. That way I don't hurt anyone.
Yes.
I think so many people...
That one breaks my heart.
...have that concept of themselves. Like I
think I should just be alone, not break anybody's heart.
Well, yeah, and they think that
That sounds like the inner monologue for me.
So much baggage that they are undeserving of love. And that's the crazy thing about these characters is because they both have this dysfunction, they're like, oh, we shouldn't go for it because we're both really fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who isn't?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we've actually heard when we leave at the end, audible like, "Oh,
yeah,
they're really rooting for us."
Yeah, I like to think that they end up together.
In the most dysfunctional relationship ever.
Yeah. Later on, when they're OIRs or 1 to 1 billion, 207 million or whatever, they're like, "Oh my God, it's you."
Nobody's gonna understand that at all.
They'll have to come see the show.
Have to come see the show.
Spoiler.
OIR, very important.
They won't understand any of these things until they come see the show. We're talking in code right now.
So come see the show.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at.
Re-listen to this so that you can be like, oh my God,
I get the jokes now.
What are the challenges of doing multiple scenes on a stage like here at Lamplighters? Like, how different do you change the sets between pieces and stuff? Like, how much work is it to recreate the environment?
It's light, but it took a lot of practicing and being like, okay, you're moving this and you're moving this and go.
Yeah, nobody likes to see people move a set. Yeah. So we do it really fast.
Yeah.
Or you dance
really
it out,
easy.
as I've learned.
I dance it out?
I dance it out.
Oh, yeah. Andre dances it out. Yeah.
And sing and dance.
I have to read signs in the dark of where they're supposed to go, and I'm like, what? I can't see. Then I'm like, I don't care. Just forget it. No one's going to read them.
I bring out a toilet, and that's even pretty fast, you know?
Yeah. You've got that down.
With that.
That's the largest set piece, I think.
We have a toilet.
Past the little squares.
We could have used a chair, but no, we got a real toilet.
Yeah, we got a real toilet. And
We're
it's
not
heavy.
joking around.
And I'm moving it pretty fast, and it always gets laughs when it gets wheeled out first. Like I'm wheeling out, and someone's like,
The biggest star.
It's funny all on its own.
Here, you can have mine.
All right, we have some more actors joining us right now.
Sit down, pretty girl.
I've got one.
Rihanna!
I've got one left.
My wife is here. My character wife.
We know it's getting close to call because everyone's showing up
You
now.
can have mine, and then Rihanna's can have a new one.
Lay on the couch and take a nap.
Here, come join us instead.
Here, sit down. I'm so tired. Just come on.
just come on.
It's very non-threatening. It's not a big deal.
All right, so folks who just came in, please introduce yourself for the audience.
To get mic'd. Clips.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
I'm Carla Navarro.
Rihanna Renee.
And what are your parts in the play?
What's my name in my scene? Do you remember?
I feel like that's something you should know at this
No,
point.
I'm just kidding. Yes, Celia and
Kelly?
No.
Oh my god, we don't know.
Well, I've just got done with work, so I'm a little.
I just
Refreshing up to the character.
Character
You're turning 35 in the other one. I know that.
Jill.
My name is Jill.
There you go.
Oh, nice. Good.
Well, that's an interesting question. Let me ask that because you guys have been Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. So for most of you, I'm sure you worked Friday and then had to come here and do the production. How do you go from work 8 hours of the day or more and then get into the mindset of being on stage? Like, what is that process for you? How do you get the energy up? Because I know at the end of the day at work, I don't want to do anything, let alone Whitney's pointing to her energy drink.
Well,
I'm
like
sponsored
I said,
by
I was
Red
gonna
Bull.
go take a nap on the couch backstage. So that was gonna be my
Well,
thing.
don't you think that having like the energy of the cast here gives
Oh,
you,
yeah.
like wakes you up? That's how I feel. As soon as I walk into the theater, I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Well, not so much for me. Well, yeah, I mean, the energy of the cast definitely helps. Especially I am not on stage until the very, very end. So I have a lot of downtime. But yeah, the energy of the cast, everyone has a really playful kind of connection, so that really helps. And then I do like a warm up, maybe like 20 minutes before I get on stage, and so that's how I get all the silliness out of my head and be able to put up with Kristen and Steve on stage. And by the way, my character's name are the first one is Liz and the second one is M.
Oh, yeah.
Short for Emily.
Yeah, short
I
names
know
for both of them.
Huh? Yeah. The first is Liz, short for lizard.
She had time to think about that. Really.
And what's been the greatest challenge for the two of you in the play?
Kissing Steve.
I'm so glad I don't have to kiss anyone. I don't know if I could do a stage for this.
Well, no. It's we have to roll on stage, like roll on the floor on stage, and my knees are bruised up by doing that. And last week, I got this little trophy right here.
Very involved.
We have some
Yeah,
highly
that's from the
choreographed
show.
makeout scenes.
Beating you on
Yeah,
stage
no,
with the
it's rough
sign that
sex.
keeps breaking.
Poor sign.
I know.
Yeah, but
I didn't.
I
What
wouldn't
was
say
the
it's rough.
question? The most challenging thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being blindfolded.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty challenging.
I kind of like that.
Can you not see at all
I can see like,
down?
yeah.
Because I can't see, and people are like, "It's just toilet paper." I'm like, "No, I legit like can't see out of the toilet paper at all."
That two ply.
Your eyes are
the good,
closed, right?
the good stuff.
I'll open them though, and I still can't. Like, I can see light, but I
Right,
can't
yeah,
see
no,
anything.
I'll catch
else.
myself, like, because I can see, closing my eyes under the tie. Yeah.
So that you just
Yeah,
can't
and I'm
see
like,
it
man,
all.
why do I do this? They don't know I can't see.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
method acting.
method. Yeah,
Gotta feel blind.
yeah. Blindfolded in heels.
Yeah.
In a wedding dress.
Forgot about
Wedding
that
dress.
part.
Those heels are pretty.
And that door.
Yeah, that door, man.
Yeah.
Oh God. Like I put it on those things every night.
And it's still, what does it look like? Does anybody know?
The rubber
What
stoppers.
does it look like when we're opening and closing the door? Like, does it look realistic at all?
Last night the door
It's a
was
freestanding
fine.
door.
Was it? I thought it moved.
Last night was probably the best night for that door.
So what he's referring to is there's a door on casters and there's rubber stoppers. And of course, it's a freestanding door, so it's challenging to open and close without it rattling and not looking like an actual
moving.
door.
Yeah.
And moving.
Because it's on wheels.
Just painting a visual
Yeah.
there, since we are just
Painting our stage with
audio.
words.
Yeah, and they haven't seen it.
Challenges of performing on stage with pieces that move around.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to watching it
Yeah,
tonight.
I love that toilet.
I wish, like at one point I was supposed to sit on the toilet, which I was really looking forward to, but
Oh.
that changed. That changed somewhere along
Got
the
a
rehearsal
little
process.
exhibitionist streak.
Yeah.
That toilet is.
It seems very comfortable.
It's
the more we're talking, the more David's like, what the hell
Yeah.
kind of show am I going to watch?
that toilet is full of the toilet paper that after the scene you throw, and I just like put it in the toilet.
It's on my face.
Yeah.
And it's not like the toilet has water
so
in
she's
it.
wiping her ass on stage, and I'm just picking them up with my bare hands and putting it in the toilet.
That's love, baby.
Let's just make it clear that that does not happen.
But, you know, if you're into it, it might, you never know, so just show up.
But this isn't. Oh, okay. Fine. Yes. Whatever you like, we're selling it. So come and see the show.
I will say, I do wish I had the couch in my scenes.
That
'cause,
couch is comfortable.
it looks so good.
Yeah, that couch is
Is it?
comfy.
Do you sit on it?
I sit on the arm, so it's not even the comfortable part.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I'm
I
a
sit on the
percher
arm,
though.
too.
I,
even the
I
comfortable
relate to that, sitting on like the bench part of it.
Probably sucks in your energy, though. I mean, if you relax, it kind of like takes your energy out. I imagine.
Well, if I'm more relaxed, then I'm more relaxed.
That's
Why I like my second scene, because I get to sit. And it's I like to sit.
I almost tripped on that couch one night when I was walking by
Oh, on
and
the
forgot it was there. I
backstage
almost died.
It's a big couch.
Yeah. I don't know
super
how I missed
comfy.
it that night.
Yeah. Were you blindfolded?
I wasn't. It was just dark and I just forgot it was there.
So who's the director?
Kristen Fogel.
Kristen Fogel?
Yes.
And how did you all feel working with her? And have you worked with her before?
I'm just nodding
There's a
my
lot of
head.
nodding.
Did you hear
Yeah.
my?
Yeah.
Yes, I've worked with
we hear
her.
the nods.
Nodding works great.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's great.
Have we all worked with her prior to this?
haven't.
No.
No.
She was my costumer once, but I feel like this is a much more different kind of
Yeah.
tackle on the tech side with working with her.
It's been a pretty free, or kind of like a free process. So she kind of lets us be intuitive with our work.
Okay.
She's not controlling at all. So
Yeah, like
So
for
she's
the
the
blocking.
opposite of the script.
Exactly.
I'll talk into your chest. For the blocking, she didn't have it like all organized. She was just said, let's see where you land. And that's always so nice.
And then if it looked really good, then she's like, yes, keep that. Or if not, it's not working, let's try something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of up to us to try something else. I think the only part that was like really strongly choreographed is like the aggressive kissing scenes.
Yeah.
Which kind of had to be, or else we might kill each other.
Wow, the bruises speak volumes.
Yeah.
on the way.
Well, I tried to take Andrew's head off a couple times apparently, so.
Oh.
Sometimes it's like hard to control. how
The
fast our
beginning of that
faces hit.
process was pretty
We
funny.
have hit noses a few
Yeah,
times.
I'm like, so I get nosebleeds really easily, so I'm like surprised like I didn't just start bleeding on stage and continue the scene.
No, I'll be looking for that tonight for
so
sure.
funny.
Well, at least we have toilet paper.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
yeah,
right there.
go into
Right
the
there.
toilet and get out some of that toilet.
Celia.
paper that's in there. Let's
Just combine all the scenes. Just people coming out.
Mine are basically combined.
Yeah,
know.
one after the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Get
god.
right off of work to confess to my boyfriend.
Yes.
Hey,
See?
boo.
Totally.
That's a joke I always like to say with my partner.
So last night your voice wasn't there.
Oh, hardly.
And you're supposed to. How did you approach the night with a situation like that?
I mean, I've always been one of those guys who's just like, take your lumps as you have them. I just kind of ran with it, Give as much as a voice as you can and like make sure the scene goes through.
Yeah.
My partner's depending on me, so
We're all
to make sure I'm
backstage.
still standing.
Yeah. We're all commenting that it didn't sound like you. Because your voice was like a lot deeper.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And the song, I watched the song. I'm so proud of you.
It worked really well though.
It
You know, it was
did.
very like sultry version of that song.
I tried to do my best with it.
Oh, it worked out really well.
It did.
Oh, thanks, guys.
We love you.
Yeah.
So around the circle, like, just real quick, give me a little background on your acting history, like, because like I know Whitney's got a master's degree in acting, you know, kind of gross.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's the bookworm, right?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. But one of the things I love about acting is it's not just about going to school. Like, everybody comes at it from a different perspective and a different angle and different experiences to get to where you're at. You know, just kind of how much training have you had? You know, like what brought you to it? You know, why do you put yourself in front of an audience every night? You know, hoping they'll applaud. We'll start with you before your voice goes out.
Of course. Well, experience-wise, I've mainly been a dancer for like 5 years. So I mainly do like musical theater, dancing in ensemble, and I've only just like in the last 2 years started to do like actual like scene acting work, like actually being an actor kind of thing instead of just like jazz hands in the back. Yeah, just like slowly getting up there. That's why I also understand like taking your injuries as you do them.
There you go. Right. What motivated stepping out of the choir, if you will, and stepping in front? Like, what motivated you 2 years ago to start doing that?
I got inspired by my other actor friends. They're really starting to make a push towards like getting like representation out there in the like, you know, theater world. I'm Filipino, by the way, if you guys don't know.
There's no denying the accent. I hear it.
But yeah, and just a lot of my other Filipino friends were just like, you have the chops to like get out there, so like start taking shots, dude, and I finally did.
Good, nice. But you?
I mean, I don't have a master's in.
I just threw her under
I have an associate's degree, and that was, I mean,
In chemistry.
that was, I have my associates in performing arts, and that was really because I needed the financial aid money. So I was like, I might as well just go to school for it. But I mean, I went to high school, and we specialized in like video production, multimedia production there, and then after high school and like during college, I started to just look for work in community theater around San Diego because I had never done theater. I was always doing kind of film stuff, and then I just kind of started looking up community theaters around San Diego and auditioning, and then that's how I met Kristen, our director, and then she kind of just dragged me around community theater, like knowing her.
She's a force of nature.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do that, and I've done some short film stuff. So yeah, man, here and there. I really like film. I like the whole puzzle aspect of it, but I enjoy doing theater because of the in the moment live reaction. When the people are supposed to be giving it, not when they're in the front row and they're like, oh no, oh what, or they're like whispering like lines to each, or my lines to. I have a line one time and he whispered the actual number, like, and I was like, that threw me off. Like, is that the number? What the fuck?
How did he know?
Yeah. I like the immediate reaction that you get back, the gasps and the laughs, you know. So yeah, that's
Okay.
I didn't know that you could go to school for theater until I went to a college like preview day, and I was listening to this guy, John Mariano, talk about he was a theater professor. So I was like, wait a minute, you can do that? Like, I can go to school and like get a degree in theater? What the heck
She's
am I
from
over
Wisconsin,
here? Yeah. What am I over here talking to this math guy for? Like, I freaking like math. So that's what happened. I went to school, got my bachelor's in theater performance, and then I moved out here after I graduated. and it took me a little while to get my feet wet. But I started with the Murder Mystery Cafe, and I met Lydia.
Lydia Real. She's been on this show.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've interviewed her.
Who then
Listen to old
introduced me
shows.
to Kristen Fogel, who was my very first director here in San Diego at Lamplighters, called the supporting cast. And so I've just been doing community theater ever since, I guess.
Cool.
All right, my turn.
Spotlight on you.
My first motivation to do theater was probably when I was about 11 years old. I was pretty young, and my mom took me to a show in which her best friend's father was in. He was an actor, veteran actor, and this was kind of like a drama, a little inappropriate for an 11-year-old. That might explain a lot of things now. And I remember seeing this woman. She was a pianist, and she had this very dramatic moment where she throws her, I don't know, musical scripts, I don't know what they're called, her book, she just throws it on the floor and yells and cries, and I'm like, oh shit, I want to do that. I was so enthralled. And then a few years later, I started taking little workshops. This was in Santiago, Chile, by the way. And so when I turned 18, I get out of high school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And in Chile, things are a little different. Education is a little different. So you get out of high school and you go straight to, university, or so you don't, it's not divided in associates or bachelors. So you just kind of get a degree in something. So I went to theater school, and then a few years after that, I moved back to the U.S. and that was in San Diego. So that was kind of like Rihanna, where I just didn't know what to do. I was part of a theater company, and back in Chile, and so I had never auditioned before. I didn't know what it was to be an actor, just on your own. So I took a few classes at community theater, and I talked to the teachers, and they were kind of like, yo, just get your monologue together and just go start auditioning. And so that's what I did, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
What was the first role you landed?
It was it was a take on The Tempest. It was called Caliban's Island, and it was kind of an adaptation of The Tempest, but it was merged with Gilligan's Island. So it was kind of like the Gilligan's Island characters, but with the plot of The Tempest. So we were still using kind of like the Shakespearean text, but it was a little changed. And my role was I don't even remember. Well, it was Miranda, but what is Marianne, the one with the pigtails, All-American Girl? Yeah, so that was it. I was probably 40 or 50 pounds heavier, and I had to wear shorts and a crop top. That was uncomfortable.
Now, if we just pass that mic over to
Yes.
Kristen so she doesn't have to talk into your chest. Because that's awkward. You don't need to hold it like that.
Can I just hold it like this? I want to.
Yeah, that's okay.
I want to hold it like this.
Feel like the finger.
She's the diva. If you guys.
Oh my god. I don't know why they keep calling me that. So mean.
So hi, Kristen Chandler.
Hi, David
So
Dawson.
you and I go a long way back.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
But you didn't know my play days.
I saw you in one play.
You saw me
back
one
then.
play. You hated it.
I didn't hate it.
I mean, you didn't
I
really.
like you in it.
There you go. The important part.
That's what they always say. I hated the show. You were really good, though. I'm like, come on. I started, like Carla, my mom took me to plays when I was a little kid every summer. And so the same thing. I saw one of the actresses. I was like, I want to do that. And so then up until I moved to San Diego, I didn't do anything. So over 18 years ago, I started classes at the Old Globe Theater, and then I just got into theater. And theater's my first love. And I think that when you go to theater, you're also going to an acting class every night. You're getting basically a free acting class because you're practicing your skill and you're working, your muscle. I always tell everybody, if you want a free acting class, get into community theater. It's the easiest thing. But so then I did plays and short films, and then I got an agent and commercials and films, and yeah, now I'm back to theater for a little bit, just for practice.
Well, you kind of bounce between.
I do. I want to be doing something creative at all times. So if this 2 months of my life is theater, the next 2 months will be, something else. So.
Excellent. Once upon a time, you spent 2.5 months working on a film with me.
I did in a trailer. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. And so now
here we are.
Whitney, I kind of glossed over what you've come from, what you do.
Honestly, our audience hears from me a lot. They can go back and listen to the first time you interviewed me, which was extensive.
One of the things you have to understand about Whitney is she hates talking about herself on the show.
I know.
I just hate that too. Hates talking about herself on the show.
I like to focus on the people we're interviewing, although technically I am also an interviewee in this one.
You're going to make the audience work and go back.
Okay, brief rundown. I started doing theater whenever I was probably, for reals, in kindergarten. I got to play the Herald of the Lord in our church play and let everybody know that baby Jesus was arrived. But I think...
That is hardcore.
Damn, okay. Rihanna's like, yeah, and then you just, caught on fire. But sixth grade is whenever I decided that I was definitely going to be an actor and started pursuing acting and theater around my town, and then went to the high school that I did because it had a strong performing arts program, and then went on and did college and eventually a master's degree and all that, and I also do film and TV as well as theater, which, as you guys were talking, I had a question for, a couple of us do film and theater. How do you guys...
Real quick, this is the last question.
All right, how do you guys change do you change how you perform between film and theater? What techniques do you use, or do you?
Volume is the only difference for me.
Yeah.
Volume's the only difference.
Yeah. But so some of my facial expressions are less exaggerated. I feel like more me. Mm-hmm. If we're just talking, that's but then when we're on stage, some of my stuff is much bigger, you know, just because it's, I guess, how it has to be. Yeah.
All right. So a little broader versus internalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
so one more weekend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Where can they get information, buy tickets, all that stuff? Where do they go?
So go Google Lamplighters, or it's I believe lamplighterstheater.com. It's Lamplighters La Mesa, and
Lovesick.
Is it .org?
Oh, are we in org?
Whoa.
I might have made that up.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right.
Come see our show. Oh, and the music is fantastic. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, everyone's jamming.
The music is great.
The best
it's
part.
really enjoyable.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it tonight.
Yay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us once again on the Intellectual Podcast. If you're looking for more things to listen to, be sure to check out the Gonna Geek Network. We're a proud member of Gonna Geek. You can find all sorts of fantastic content at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the podcast, All Things Good and Nerdy. This week, they take a look at MoviePass, and host Chris explains some of MoviePass's issues and why he's ready to cancel the service. And Anthony has all the details on the final acquisition of Fox by Disney. Check it out this week on All Things Good and Nerdy, another member of the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.